evening with 3 points, Adrian.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think those games where we didn't play well. We know that it was short of ideas. We didn't have great imagination. We didn't create very many chances at all, but we were efficient in the moments that mattered, and that is the most important thing. 6 shots, 2 goals. West Ham had 14 shots. They only managed to score the one. So that's the story of the game. This was not a performance to remember, but a very, very big result for us moving forwards. And I just hope that we can learn from the mistakes and the struggles that we had in this game.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm going to be honest. I tweeted this as well on my Twitter. If I wasn't doing this coverage with you tonight, Adrian, I probably would have switched over to Britain's Got Talent halfway through that second half. It wasn't a classic by all means from Arsenal. But as you said, sometimes you just have to knuckle down. You're not going to have gritty performances like that, and we got the job done. Some people might say in previous years we wouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to hold your nerve, and you've got to take advantage of the opportunities that come your way, the really good opportunities, and that's exactly what we did. I thought the winning goal was a peach. I thought both our goals were really good pieces of football, actually, sort of in polar opposite to the rest of the performance. Lovely little slip pass on both occasions from Bukayo Saka. He sees things, doesn't he? He sees the picture really, really well. The weight of his pass for Aubameyang for the first, the weight of his pass for ceballos, superb for the second, and then it's crucial. What can Aubameyang deliver? What can Ceballos deliver when they look up? And they both chose the right option, and they laid it on a plate for the two guys that scored the goals, Lacazette and Nketiah. So in those key moments, we were ice cold. But for the rest of the game, I think that Mikel Arteta will he'll get into the players this week and work on creativity and also look at the way that we defended as well, because it was a little bit messy, I have to say, at the back tonight. We looked uncomfortable dealing with Antonio, and when balls were swung into the 18-yard box, we were uncertain.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. Right, something we've been doing since we've been doing the breakdown live, remotely anyway, is we have been doing 3 things that we've learned from each of our performances, and that continues. So let's have a look at the first thing that we've learned from...
Because the quality of the cross was so good from Aubameyang, but he was in the right place, and yeah, I just think he's a really underrated centre forward. Not enough people speak about him because it's the Oba show, isn't it? Whenever people talk about Arsenal, it's Aubameyang. But he's a very, very good centre forward, and look, hopefully his goal tally will reflect his quality this season. He disappointed on that score last year, but I think he's capable of scoring, I would say, between 16 and 22 goals this season. I think that's about the range that he should be aiming for. And if he stays fit, that's possible.
Yeah, that's a great return, especially if Aubameyang's still firing as well. Add that to his tally and we'll be laughing. There's lots of love on social media, as you can imagine, for Lacazette, as always, a popular character, I should say.
So look, no, I think that Lacazette is popular with the fan base. I don't think anyone wants to see him leave the club, and I don't think there are any real rumours doing the rounds that that's going to happen now. I think he's here to stay, and I think his competition for a start with Eddie Nketiah is going to be something to really keep our eye on this season, because in Eddie, I see a player that's developing really fast. His own goal record is improving as well. So I see these two pushing one another this season. So yeah, I think we'll be talking about those two as well as Oba.
Yeah, most definitely. Right, let's have a look at the second thing that we've learned from tonight's performance then, and it is... because you say these things and they come true.
Well, sometimes, yeah. I mean, look, the stats are there. You just have to look, take some time, look at the times Arsenal are conceding their goals. And last season, for sure, this was our worst by miles. 30 to 45 minutes was a problem area. And again, it came back to bite us. We were sort of opened up a bit easy. There was a 2v1 overload on the right-hand side. I did think that Kolasinac was a bit uneasy tonight. Obviously, not easy for him, because he didn't know he was playing until just minutes before the kickoff, with Tierney pulling up in the warm-up. But he was put in an awkward position there, couldn't block the cross, and then holding sort of on the wrong side of Antonio. But I'd rather credit West Ham for opening us up than dissecting it from a defensive point of view. There weren't any terrible mistakes in the run up to that goal, but I do think that the concentration is a general issue. What concerned me tonight was that when balls were swung into the box, we didn't look certain. I think that Gabriel wasn't quite as dominant in the air as he was last weekend. The same could apply to the other two guys. Kolasinac was a bit edgy in that department, and Leno as well just doesn't have that same sort of presence as Emi Martinez. Comes out and punches it. I think that's something that the guys at the back have got to get reused to moving forwards, because I think some of those balls swung in tonight, Emi would have just said, "Yeah, there's mine, and I'll have it," and Bernd went for the punch instead.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting to see, that defence last week against, say, Mitrovic, for example, because he didn't start the game last week, did he? He came off the bench, and West Ham, as you alluded to in the pre-match show, got some big guys up top. So, concentration is key. This was picked up online, actually, the concentration point. We can see a tweet now, I believe, from somebody.
Message, I'm sure, and the coaching staff. But look, it comes just before halftime, when he hasn't really been able to communicate with the players. Like you said earlier, we need those drinks breaks back for him to just remind everybody, we've got 20 odd minutes here. Let's make sure we give nothing away. But look, I don't think they're going to come back, I'm afraid. No. But look, it's something to work on. I would rather probably concentrate on where we can improve tactically and how we can sort of defend better than specifically looking at times and dwelling on that. It's sometimes just a coincidence.
All right, well, let's move on then to the third and final thing that we've taken from tonight's game.
Had 7 shots actually in the end. I think only 5 of those were from shots that we actually created ourselves. And Aubameyang, I think, created more chances than anyone else, and he's supposed to be the guy on the end of them. I just feel that we didn't press home our advantage when we had West Ham pegged back. We were just a little bit too predictable in our approach. We didn't have enough imagination or rotational movement, too much straight lines, especially first half. We had 5 people in a line, and they're easy to mark. Second half was a slight improvement. Aubameyang played more central second half, and he was making some unusual runs that were catching West Ham off guard. That was really good. That was a definite positive. And in the second half, we saw Ceballos push himself into the box more. We saw Xhaka, obviously for the goal, open up the defence with a lovely pass. There was a bit more interchanging, and that's what we need moving forwards. But yeah, it's a problem area. We are one of the most least creative teams in the Premier League. And I can't believe I'm saying it, because Arsenal, for the whole of, well, actually, maybe during the George Graham era, we weren't the most imaginative team. But from Wenger onwards, we've always been so creative. And we've definitely gone backwards in that regard. I think Arteta will fix it, but work still needs to be done.
Yeah, hugely frustrating, especially when, the forward players that we've got, if they could just get some chances created for them, they would be unbelievable. It'd be a nightmare for defences.
We've got lethal finishers. I mean, Aubameyang's conversion rate's amazing. Same with Lacazette. Eddie Nketiah is right up there as well. We've got Pepe who can score good goals from nowhere. We saw what Willian was about last weekend. They're just a few of the guys that can score goals for us. We've got firepower, but we do need a bit more invention. I genuinely feel that last goal sums up what we're missing. and that was Ceballos making that run from deep into the box. We need a box-to-box guy. Now, maybe Danny's the guy, but maybe we need someone else to come in and do that job, to just wreak havoc and cause problems, take defenders away. He made it happen. He thought, right, I'm just going to chance my army. I'm going to break into the box. And from it, we open them up and we score a goal. Too often, we rely on the top three at that top end of the pitch, Aubameyang, Willian, and Lacazette. We just rely on them to deliver something. And we can't always rely on that to happen. So that's where you need the extra players to chip in. And thankfully, Dani Ceballos did it tonight. But in general, we need a player that's willing to break those lines and join in inside the box.
Yeah, well, there's a few names floating around out there. You don't need me to talk about it right now, but there's a couple of names floating around that lots of people like to bang on about on social media. So who knows? Maybe we'll see.
Well, everyone keeps on me to try and announce these signings. Nothing to do with me. All right, nothing to do with me. If only
it was, we'd be signing everybody.
Of course,
if we had anything to do with it. Right. So before the first half started, we did a question of stats, didn't we? It's a new thing that we're doing on the show, where essentially me, you and Dan Roebuck go head to head. And the question was, how many shots in total will there be in this game? And I'm just going to say, I don't think I've won. Is where I'm going to go with this. I went massively high, didn't I? I think I went like 20. What did I say?
26, I think.
Right, 26. Yeah, I went the highest, and Dan went in at like
24.
Yeah, and then you went
21.
So how many shots were there?
21.
No, there weren't, was there? It wasn't 21 spot on, was
it? 21, yeah. I fluked it. Look, I'm looking at my Opta thing now. Arsenal 7 shots, West Ham 14 shots. I mean, that does add up to 21, I believe. So, yeah, is that 3 points for Clarke?
That is outrageous. I knew you'd won,
Stick it up. Yeah.
I thought you'd only got closest. I thought you missed out by one shot, but actually you've got it nailed on. Oh.
Yeah. Look, when you got it, haven't you? This is the shot map, by the way, and I think this is well worth looking at. Arsenal 7. I mean, 7 shots is not enough. We've covered that. But look at West Ham. Look, a lot of them outside the box, a few of them blocks. Now, Gabriel made 3 blocks tonight, so well played him on that score. He put his body on the line. Ceballos made a couple of blocks as well. But they're inside the box. Most of those chances for West Ham tonight were headers inside the danger zone. We had one, didn't we? Antonio tried to bundle it in early on in the second half. He was really unfortunate not to score. But yeah, when crosses came in tonight, we were really, really hesitant. So that's definitely something to work on ahead of the next game and the challenges that lie ahead. Because if Premier League opponents sense that we're not comfortable with crosses being whipped into our danger zone, they will whip as many as they can into our box. Make no mistake.
Most definitely. I just wanted to finish up on a word for the young players, because it's been a talking point online. Lots of people picking up on some of our youngsters. Of course, I think we can see a tweet in a few moments' time where somebody is mentioning our younger players. Maybe, who knows? We'll float it in. Here it comes. Hi, Adrian. What are your thoughts on some of our youth players? Thinking about the likes of Nelson, Willock, and maybe even Eddie Nketiah. Do you think a loan to a Premier League club will be more beneficial for their development this season?
It's a really good question. I think that maybe in the second half of the season, because remember we've got a load of group games coming up in the Europa League, and they are guaranteed games for these young players, you would imagine. So it's a quandary, I guess, for the manager and for the guys themselves. There's no way Eddie Nketiah is going anywhere, not unless we sign 2 centre forwards, which I don't think is going to happen. So he'll stay. I think for Reiss Nelson, it could be the time to go out on loan, actually. I think that Reiss has got his pathway blocked. He's got Willian obviously ahead of him, Nicolas Pepe, and other players can also slot in on that side. Bukayo Saka probably ahead of him as well as a right winger if we were to play him there. So no, I think that Reiss Nelson might be the one that goes on loan. And look, if he can go to another Premier League team, that's fine, or the Championship, no problem at all. It probably would help his development moving forwards. Joe Willock, depends, doesn't it? If we sign an attacking midfielder, like we hope that we do, then maybe that would be the case for him as well.
Yeah.
But I think it could be something we look at second half of the season when we get to the knockout stages of the Europa. We might need them for that group stage.
Yeah, so all could change. But thank you for your question. And for everybody else that submitted questions to Adrian, make sure you get him on Twitter at Adrian J. Clarke. That is where you can ask your questions at halftime and at full time. Right, Adrian, thank you very much for your company this evening. Of course, yes. You will be back with me midweek. We've got midweek work this week in the Carabao Cup, where the youngsters are probably going to get a look in there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And we want to win. It's a tough game, Leicester away, of course. It's not on the TV, I don't think. So it could be the place to come. We give you the full build-up. We'll have live radio commentary, halftime analysis, full-time analysis. So for those of people that can't see the game, and I don't think it's going to be readily available, jump on board with us, and we'll do our best to provide the best coverage possible.
Yeah, make sure you do. It's always on arsenal.com via the Arsenal player. And for that game, I think it's 7:45 kickoff. So we'll be on around 7:20. Myself, Adrian and Dan will catch you then. Have a good evening. Take care.